change that. Anyway, moving on, we have Jay Christopher, the current chairperson of the CFTC Commission, has said that one of the main reasons why the internet thrived is because the government did not impose too stringent measures to control it. There's no need No, he says there is a need for a do-no-harm approach when creating policies to control cryptocurrency in the United States and other parts of the world. The do-no-harm approach means that the government should first appreciate the fact that cryptocurrencies cannot affect the economy negatively. With this in mind, they can come up with policies that are holistic and in line with the current market trends and interests of the industry leaders. He says, it says, when asked about the specific risks associated with fraud, Christopher stated that during the policy-making stages, slow and strategic steps should be taken to ensure that all the loopholes in the system are sealed. I guess this is the guy right here. So this kind of piggybacks on what happened yesterday with Crypto Mom and Hester Pierce saying that she doesn't think that they should be helicopter SEC, right? You shouldn't be hovering over everything. You should just kind of like let them free, but if they wander off the path, maybe kind of reel them back in kind of thing, right? So also Wank Chain, I wonder what that's about. Not even going to look into that one.
Ha ha, very funny, motherfucker.
So you do have to think about this. They are basically saying you need to let this develop. You don't want to hinder it so early. It is so early. Kevin Rook, for example, says the internet in the 1990s, roughly 50% of searches are for porn. Is that true? I mean, I would believe that, but I don't know. Anyway, he says, but long story short, so that was what was happening, but in the back, you have the smartest developers in the world improving the transfer of information. Crypto, you have 50% of top dApps are for gambling, right? Behind the scenes, smartest developers in the world improving value of a transfer of value. Now, I'm not sure if they're actually all for gambling. I mean, they use some of these Ethereum dApps. So they have the IDEX 333 ETH. So it's only fair dApp Infinity that's the gambling right here. EOS has a lot more. It has the ITE Dice, EOS Bet, which had that situation the other day when somebody just kept winning the jackpot. EOS Lucky Dice, EOS Lottery. Yeah, but you know what, though? These types of, gambling is a game, right? It's a game. And we've been talking about games a lot on this channel. So, yeah, obviously games, gambling, lottery, it's going to attract attention whether or not people want to admit it. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, this was a little bit of a serious issue, but I think it's getting resolved, like literally currently as we speak. I think this is taken care of. But there was a bug in Bitcoin that a lot of people were worried about. So this is the GitHub right here. You can check it out. I highlighted this comment right here from Pierre Ricard. He said the upgrade to the Bitcoin Core 0.16.3 to fix denial of service vulnerability, a bug introduced in Bitcoin Core 0.14 and affecting all subsequent versions through 0.16.2 will cause Bitcoin Core to crash when attempting to validate a block containing a transaction that attempts to spend the same input twice. So this is not good news. So such blocks would be invalid and so can only be created by miners willing to lose the allowed income from having created a block, at least 12.5 Bitcoin or roughly $80,000. So essentially, if you wanted to, cause Bitcoin Core to crash, you would essentially have to be willing to give up your $80,000 worth of Bitcoin. But he says patches for master and 0.16 branches were submitted for public review yesterday. The release has been tagged containing the patch, and binaries will be available for download as soon as sufficient number of well-known contributors have reproduced the deterministic build, probably later today. He says immediate upgrade is highly recommended. So we don't really have to worry about this, but to those that do, as long as you download this upgrade, everything should be fine. Please download this upgrade. So, one of the things that you're seeing is Bitcoin mining not being profitable. So that is an issue as well. They've brought up a lot of points here: energy consumption, hardware efficiency and production rate, demand and supply, government regulations, media influence, et cetera, et cetera. So I remember a while ago, they were saying that it costs around, at one point it was costing around $6,000 in the US to produce one Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin is only worth, what's it worth today? 6,324, then the question is that really worth all the effort to just make an extra $300 off of the production? You must have to really believe in the mining if you're doing that, right? We saw a lot of issues happening with Bitmain. Bitmain might be going bankrupt. Their situation's a little different. They held on to the Bitcoin Cash. They ended up investing in a lot of different things all at once. They were looking to open their own exchange. So they were doing a lot. But it does beg the question, how are these smaller businesses, these tiny miners, going to actually be able to survive? I don't think they're going to be able to, even just considering the fact that eventually these hardware solutions, they burn out, right? And you got to go buy more. Well, every time you have to buy an ASIC miner, you know, that's more money out of your pocket. So it is interesting looking forward. However, on the bright side, it's good to know that Bitcoin doesn't actually ever die. Eventually, if people start dropping off, then it'll just adjust the difficulty rate. And then you will be able to get back in and mine. That's the beauty of Bitcoin, but it does suck for those small guys just getting in that got excited at the all-time highs and are now basically mining for losses. So we have to move on to some coin news today. I wanted to talk about EOS version 1.3.0. So if we come down here, I highlighted some of the main points. So the first thing is the trusted producer light validation. Producers have the ability to trust their own block and designate them as light, drastically reducing propagation delays across their internal network of API and P2P nodes for blocks they produce in order to increase the overall performance of the network. Number 2 is Meet Wabbit, the new WebAssembly backend. And yes, you heard me right, Wabbit.
Shh, be very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits.
So this is a suite for tools for WebAssembly that is considerably faster than the current default binary interpreter. This means that every microsecond spent processing transactions on an EOS IO based blockchain can be more productive. Additionally, they say that they expect the replay time for existing chains to be cut in half. And finally, the last thing that I thought was important to bring up was the EOSIO contract development toolkit .cdt. So essentially, it's a toolkit for compiling smart contracts and generating ABI files. The EOSIO contract development toolkit provides support for GNU and C++11 style, creating a more reliant way of declaring your smart contract structure and associated data structures. Now, they do have an entire list all right here. Obviously, I'm not going to go into all of that. So if you guys want, I'll drop that in the description as well, and you can have a look and see what's going on. Also, let's talk about Pundi X. So they have a little bit of some updates over here. I'd say the main thing, and this is extremely important because this is happening literally within the next 24 hours. So this is the last day to swap your old tokens for the new NPXS and the NPXS XEM that are available on the NEM blockchain. So please remember to do this. The ratio of swapping tokens is 1 PXS for 1,000 NPXS. Also, XPass cards issued in Taiwan. A full public release has not been announced by the team at Pundi X, but the NPXS community is very much enthusiastic about the launch. And then finally, they are talking about the removal of 500 million NPXS from the total supply. So 100% of Pundi X's revenue that is generated through transactions on the XPOS will be removed permanently from the token circulation. That means that if they make $1 in revenue, they will take that dollar out of circulation permanently, and the NPXS token will be taken out of circulation and will never be able to re-enter circulation in any way possible. So yeah, so that's a lot of updates from the team right there. Now we also have a listing. We have KuCoin listing Eden Chain. Eden Chain was a coin that had a lot of hype kind of back a little bit ago with the ICOs. So I meant to look into it. I probably owe this coin some due diligence, but what is Eden Coin? Essentially, it says the strong implementation of programmable economy platforms brings with it two significant problems: performance and non-secured connectivity. Eden Chain concentrates on solving these technical concerns by employing software and hardware that can raise the performance of the whole network and defend the blockchain against external hackers. Since Eden Chain can monetize all varieties of assets and execute secure, cost-efficient, and high-speed transactions, it can be utilized across various industries such as IoT, finance, shared economy, games, ICO, etc. So, yeah, so it's on KuCoin. I checked it earlier. It was up like 20%. So just be careful buying the hype. But, you know, I have to look into the total supply, the fundamentals of it, and the tech and all that. So, yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that. Also, Crypto Briefing did a pretty good token progress report on Holochain. I'm not going to go into it right now because there's like a lot to go over. But you guys know Holochain has definitely been one of those projects that has a lot of interest from the community, especially the fact that it has such really new tech in the space. It's something really different that we haven't seen before. You know, I did a little bit of a review on it myself, but if you guys want, I will drop this below. They did a great job in keeping everyone up to date on it. Also, High Performance Blockchain, we are ecstatic to start our countdown to our mainnet launch. Just 5 days to go. Finally, this is what we've been waiting for. A lot of people are excited about this. Is it going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news thing? I don't really know, but I do know that High Performance Blockchain is a very legit project. I definitely support what they do. I believe that hardware implementations is going to eventually be a necessity to really get the scalability that we're looking for. So yeah, that being said, definitely getting excited about that. We also have Genesis Vision. They finally announced the moment that everyone's been waiting for, essentially, which is the platform launch date. So that's October 30th. They go over here, they go into all the different things. They've completely overhauled the UI, integration with a DEX. Index funds and ETFs will go live, tools to analyze the performance of traders markets, etc., etc. So if you guys are interested, you could definitely check that out. As you can see, some people are getting a little excited over this. So that's news from there. We also have Request Network announcing a new feature called Request Donations, which lets websites accept donations in cryptocurrency. Now, what I do like about this is it says that the installation of the feature is totally straightforward. You simply have to embed the script into your website and it'll automatically create the donate button for you. This is good because one of the previous complaints about Request Network was that it was a little complicated to use their services. So I'm really happy to see that they're making it super simple right now. So receivers of donations can select the specific currency which they'd like to get paid. Currently, you can only get Ethereum, Request Network, DAI, Omisego, Kyber Network, or Digix. That's just the DGX. So when adding in the script, it's possible to filter out cryptocurrencies that aren't decided, and you'll also have the ability to cap the amount of money that you can actually have sent. Now, also, speaking of other things that are happening with these coins out there, these tokens, we have IDO becoming the latest crypto startup to seek a stable coin. So stable coins have been a huge topic of conversation this year. We've seen the Gemini dollar, we've seen True USD. So I can't even think of them. There's like all these different ones. We have Alchemint coming out from Neo, right? So now they have their ERC20. They're calling it the EKon, which is EKon, and it's going to basically be redeemable for 1 gram of 99.9% fine gold, which the startup says will be stored in its vault and audited every 90 days. The interesting thing is they say people will be able to see the gold stored in the security vaults through a video camera we will post a link to on the website so that everyone can see the actual gold. Each token will be backed by 24 karat gold, so we will issue new tokens only if the gold is available and only if the user has completed KYC and all the legalities necessary. So, I mean, on a day where the market's not doing too much, you're seeing an 8% increase from IDO, so it looks like some people are getting excited about that. Also, really super quick, Binance begins its beta testing in Singapore, so yeah, get ready for that. I mean, obviously, this is closed, it's not public. I think they're doing it with the Singapore dollar, I would assume. So, also, by the way, where is this place? I want to walk on that bridge. That looks pretty cool. So moving on to another crypto briefing article. These guys just came up on my radar twice today. They also were talking a little bit about the Tasos Mainnet. And, Tasos had said we now consider the beta period concluded. And while active development still continues, we are pleased to regard the Tasos network as the mainnet. A lot of people were upset of how long this took to come out. It was over a year, but slow and steady wins the race, right? So there you go, Tasos Mainnet on board, boom. We also have Neo Global Development opening a new office in Trust Square in Zurich, Switzerland. So Trust Square opened in April of 2018 and has become the world's largest blockchain hub, hosting over 40 blockchain startups and organizations. So this is really good. So tomorrow, they're holding an open house day to celebrate its expansion to 300 workstations across 3,000 square meters. It's inviting the general public to come and meet many residents and learn about the project. So if you happen to be in Zurich, go hang out with the Neo guys. I'm nowhere near there, so I'm going to just be thinking about them in spirit in New York. Now, here's something. We have XRP, a new platform. People think I totally hate Ripple. I don't hate it. There's things about it that I don't like. I just kind of find myself more of a Stellar fan, but it's fine. To each his own. I always get these comments like, you hate Ripple. It's like, I just wouldn't really personally invest in it, but that's just me. Do what you want. Anyway, long story short, so a new platform created by Ripple's former CTO is now integrated with YouTube and Twitch, allowing content creators to accept XRP. Well, maybe you got my interest, guys. I can get tipped now. So it's Coil, a company that aims to give internet content creators new ways to monetize their work, is now in beta. So far, the company has integrated with YouTube and Twitch, allowing viewers to donate XRP to their favorite channels. Users can also utilize the platform to donate to Wikipedia and the Internet Archive. So I'll have to look into this. It's in beta. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'll take tips in XRP. I'm not going to say no to that, right? So you also have Shapeshift IO versus Fast with two A's who comes out on top. Now, this is an article by Fast. I expect it to be biased. However, I did have a look at some of the key differences. The one thing right out the gate is I noticed that they're definitely going to have a lot more cryptocurrencies. And the other thing too that really kind of bothered me is that Shapeshift is eventually going to require you to sign up for an account, and it looks like that means that your information is going to be available for third parties to potentially look at. So I think in that sense, if you're really looking to do the original vision of Shapeshift, where like I just get to kind of move coins from one to another and it's kind of like anonymous and stuff, then in that sense I would say Fast. But have a look, look at it, see what you guys think about it. I'll leave the article for you to decide. So let's talk about decentralization of the gaming ecosystem. So the gaming industry is clearly one of the fastest growing industries, with annual revenues of more than 100 billion and more than 2 billion in active users. Although the current development momentum is very good, the traditional game industry still has some disadvantages because of its centrality, right? Games are limited in their ecosystem involvement, and game decisions are entirely up to the game company. And these companies have the right to change the in-game experience, features, and content without the involvement of gamers, all of which may affect the player and their gaming experience. So Vitalik Buterin actually chimed in on his personal experience, and he actually said, "I am happy to have played World of Warcraft during 2007 and 2010, but one day Blizzard deleted the life siphon spell skills on my beloved warlock. I cried and fell asleep that night. Just that day, I realized the center. What are the terrible consequences of the service?" So gaming companies, have been making major changes to their games content without the involvement of gamers, which triggers a lot of dissatisfaction, like Vitalik mentioned. So the reason why decentralization can attract players is that once the game is developed and coded, the game company will not be able to change the game content of the game. The game player can control its content and experience and can exchange money and reward through the game. And this brings me to my next point, how blockchain is being used to help prevent fraud in the art world. Now, how do these two things even connect to each other? Well, we had a conversation last night. I don't know if you guys came to the interview and checked it out. I was talking to William Quigley over at Wax. He went over here. We talked about all different things. We discussed non-fungible tokens, the future of gaming, the future of collectibles. We also had a lot of other interesting conversations as well, like how Chrome extensions have all these bugs and everything else of that nature. But it ties into the fact that users want to own their own data. They want to own their own collectibles. When it comes to art, we find that nowadays it's so easy to just replicate. You can replicate a poster. You can replicate a print. You can literally 3D print something, right? How do you know it's authentic? How do you know it's the original? Well, this is where these non-fungible tokens, these ERC 721s come into play. And regardless of what people believe as far as Bitcoin or crypto and all that, the fact of the matter is that these are implementations that are happening. They're real. They're being used right now, and they're helping to validate things, for example, like art on the blockchain. So moving forward, this is real use case. So when people ask me, well, what can you really use it for? Well, clear poll voting, right? VeChain, supply chain. You can also, verify validity of things. So all that type of stuff. Now, let's get this video ended before it drags on too long. Finally, we have Virtual Crypto Technologies Incorporated. So long story short, they're essentially a developer of innovative software and hardware, and they're getting involved in cannabis dispensaries. So the virtual crypto solution will facilitate transactions with local dispensary shops where marijuana dispensaries are legal and recognized by the US government. Virtual crypto has created a simple process that brings cryptocurrency one step closer to being a legitimate payment method for cannabis processors. So I know a lot of people have been doing this before. There's been Potcoin. I think there's all these different like cannabis related cryptos. Could these guys be the first one to really bring it to the forefront? We'll have to see. I know that cannabis and crypto have kind of gone hand in hand for quite some time, so we'll have to see that moving forward. Now, we had a lot going on with Indiegogo. They've changed their stance. They're back. They announced today that they are basically going to provide access to security tokens by offering a real estate asset to its audience of crowd investors. So this would be an STO, a security token offering, which are now the kind of biggest competitors to ICOs, I'd say at this point. If anything, if we move in any direction, it's probably going to be to the STO. So Indiegogo will present its $10 million global members to the opportunity Oh no, it's 10 million global members with the opportunity to its own tokenized share of common stock in the prestigious St. Regis Aspen Resort with the Aspen Digital Token Asset offering. So there you guys go. So what they say right here, now this is just kind of going into security token offerings, but they say that security token offerings are the investment tool of the future, a mechanism designed to store wealth by utilizing income-producing digital assets. By opening access to investing in traditional assets like real estate, we are creating a new opportunity for investors to explore an ownership stake in something previously only accessible to private investors and high net worth individuals. Now, I know we've seen this with a couple other projects as well, some that are not doing very well. I'm not going to mention their names. Some people might get angry, but we have seen tokenization of land and buildings and things of that nature. And I also think that moving forward, that's going to be something that we're going to see. Like, imagine, for example, instead of just one person owning a building and then that person is the landlord and they rent that out to the individuals, imagine if that building was actually collectively owned by a bunch of smaller people who necessarily couldn't own, like you can't buy Trump Tower, right? Nobody has that kind of money. But you might be able to buy like 1% of it, right? And then you would get 1% of the rent. So all these offices and all these people that are paying for their rent in the building, you could get 1% by owning 1% of the token. You see what I'm saying? So this is real possibilities. You know, you see a lot of these decentralized, the DAOs coming out too. So that's something to definitely look into. You also have Upbit Crypto Exchange Operator to open a Singapore-based crypto exchange next month. So yeah, I mean, that's good news. That's just more exchanges, more people getting involved. Is it going to affect the liquidity? It might, but you are seeing a lot of solutions looking to solve that. You have Loopring, you have Kyber Network. There's a whole bunch. I can't even think of them all right now. I think eventually we will solve the decentralized exchange liquidity issues. Who's going to be the first to do it? Maybe we'll all do it. Maybe Bancor. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll all get involved. You know, I mean, Komodo's even got barter decks, right? So that's something to definitely have a look at. And before we go, if that doesn't make you happy, I just wanted to give you the official picture of how the internet is working. This is really how cryptos are sent back and forth. It's really just this dog in a tunnel. That's... Okay, yeah. Not the best ending. But anyway, guys, it's hump day. We got to get over it, right? That being said, thank you so much for everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. Seriously, you guys are amazing. You're the reason I do this every day. I got to be real. If it wasn't for you guys, I don't know if I could get up every day and make these videos in this damn bear market, but you guys keep me going. You're my inspiration. Thank you so much. Pleasure and honor to be here with you at the biggest transformations of tech and the future as we know it, etc. That being said, love you guys. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.